Anyone rushing to install hurricane windows ahead of this storm season. There's a controversial code change blowing into several industries, leaving unintended consequences in its wake.
Contact 5 investigator Jared Worksma shows us how this change could cost people in South Florida a lot of money.
As you're preparing for the worst and battening down the hatches, you don't want to be thinking more about your windows than your safety.
Some that have already been tested right here.
Gary Orman is the CEO of Innovative Window Concepts in Boynton Beach. He says recent changes to Florida Energy Code will hit home in ways few realize.
They have kind of forced this upon the industry.
The change requires impact windows to be 10% more energy efficient. Sounds good, but Orman says hang on.
This will break a lot easier. This is worse for your energy.
And this is about 30% more expensive.
Between 30 to 50%.
Orman says it all begins with this third layer of glass.
Not impact glass at all. It's just a piece of glass.
Piece of glass.
Its only purpose is to insulate the window. The insulated impact glass is required to stop a 2x4 fired at 50 feet per second, like all impact glass. But Orman says the additional glass layer is far more vulnerable to everyday hazards.
Just a stone from a weed eater can break this.
But I just put these in.
Yeah, now you got to replace the whole window.
Which is where the insurance industry gets involved.
You don't think anybody's anticipated this?
Nope.
John Blaylock is the president of B&M Consolidated Insurance Services.
More claims, the higher the claims, gets passed on to the consumer.
We decided to test the different windows ourselves.
What we have here is your standard impact glass.
We started hammering the glass, making each blow stronger than the last. On the 27th strike, it finally cracked. Next, we moved on to a piece of insulated impact glass. By the 5th strike, the glass shattered. Our experiment was far from scientific, but gave Blaylock reason to expect more claims in the future.
Doesn't that affect premiums somehow?
Expect rate increases.
Rick Stark has also spent decades in the insurance industry. Now he's a Florida State rep as well.
Before I contacted you the other day, had you heard anything about this?
No.
The Department of Business and Professional Regulation oversees changes in energy code. Stark was able to quickly set up a phone conference to get some answers.
It was basically explained to me that it was done internationally and nationally, and that I guess when they met, they felt that Florida had to start following the guidelines.
This is another point of contention. In cooler climates around the country, the insulated glass will pay for itself in energy savings. Orman says that's not the case in South Florida, especially in an older home.
It was never built to meet the energy codes. Why make the window meet it?
In fact, he says the insulated glass could increase your energy bills.
During the day, the sun hits your house and your walls heat up. That heat that comes through your wall at night is trapped in your house, so your air conditioner is going to run more than it normally would.
Have you talked to them at all about that?
Basically what they said is that it's being revisited. They may not have known what the impact was going to be, but I guess maybe they're finding out now.
What happens if a homeowner says, oh, well, my contractor tells me that I have to have this glass put in?
They need to check the codes.
But right now, even the Florida Building Commission, which voted to implement the energy code change, says enforcement is a mess.
It's all right now left up to the building officials to interpret the code.
Which means homeowners can't choose for themselves.
All right, now as a result of all of this, the Florida Building Commission will now be reviewing this code come October 15th. Now again, this does not appear to be a safety issue, so if you have insulated hurricane windows right now, don't stress as Erica approaches, but if you're shopping for them, ask about insulated versus non-insulated impact glass. You could be sparing yourself a lot of money and hassle. Jared Worksma, WPTV, News Channel 5.